morning, good afternoon, or good night, my fellow Chibits. Today, I'm here to bring you a anime review on Snafu Season 2. So, before anyone asks, because I know a bunch of you are probably going to ask or you're going to question, I just got out of the shower, my hair is wet, so if it looks a little bit off, it's because I'm freshly out of a shower, because I know I usually get comments like that after I get out of the shower and do a review. So, anyways, let's talk about this episode of Snafu Season 2. A very, very realistic episode, and this is something I've been wanting to tackle when it comes to Snafu. Out of countless harems and rom-coms I have seen through majority of me watching anime or reading manga, I have never seen such a realistic rom-com, or kind of like a slice of life. The way Snafu, this series, tackles some of these issues, and the way the characters have these conflicting thoughts, and the way they realize something's going on around them, or the way they look at different perspectives of issues going on with different parts of their social life, it's so shocking to see how Snafu tackles so many of these issues realistically. And you see that throughout majority of Season 1 and Season 2, and it really comes full center, and you can really see it with this episode of Snafu. Like, the entire ordeal with what is going on in this episode, like the main ordeal or concept of this episode, or what we can currently see going on these past couple episodes after what our main male character Hachiman did in the last episode, is that there is a dispute going on between Yukino and him, Hachiman. They're both having some form of complications, issues between each other, because you have it to where Yukino doesn't like the way Hachiman does his way of, like, finishing missions, like, doing his job. Like, he's very effective and he's very efficient when he's tasked to do something, but the way he goes about it, his methods are just not right. And you also have it to where Hachiman, he just doesn't want to change, and he's just stuck in his ways of how he's been made through how his social life was in middle school. And to see how he tackles these problems and how he looks at these different issues, it's just so realistic, because I know people in similar situations. I actually know people in real life that are in a similar situation to Hachiman, or I was slightly in a similar situation when I was in high school when it came to Hachiman, when it came to certain elements of social life. I'm not saying I was completely like Hachiman, but when it came to some ways of tackling different things, I was kind of similar to that. And to see how Hachiman tackles these problems realistically, and he's not a character that just, laughs, smiles, and just, I guess, is just happy-go-lucky, and, kind of, like, bubbly. Like, how a standard rom-com main male character is. Hachiman is just so unique and so different from the average, and to see how he looks at so many of these issues that's going on, like, in this episode, it's so shocking. And also when you see how he has these conflicting thoughts going on. Like, in this episode, I saw key signs of how Hachiman as a character, or as a person in general, was being gravely impacted for what he has done, and you can tell he's stressed out and he's thinking very hard on the issue at hand, because at the scene when he's looking around, like he goes to the vending machine and he gets some coffee, I remember in Season 1, when I was binge watching Season 1, he always got this coffee called Max Coffee. I think that's what the coffee was. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But I thought it was Max Coffee that Hachiman always got, and in this episode, he got, like, black coffee. And at first glance, it doesn't seem like it as much. It doesn't, but the way he went about it, and he changed himself to get this other coffee, and when he says it's bitter, you can just see something very strange going on there when it comes to his mindset. You can see he's very conflicted with what he has done or what is really going on, and that just goes to show you more of the inner psyche of Hachiman as a character. And it's not just that either. As a series that I see that's trying to be realistic, I was actually more keen on looking at the body movements of the characters. Like, I want to start having to look closely at the body movements of some of these characters a lot more effectively, because in this episode, I noticed Hachiman was constantly looking at the time. He was always either looking at his clock, or different things like that. He was just looking at the time, keeping track of time, and I noticed he was doing those type of body movements throughout this entire episode. And usually when I'm watching an anime or reading a manga, I don't tend to really care much about that. I don't. But this type of series, as I said, is realistic, and the way that was shown was to showcase that he just does not want to be around the club at all. He was trying to kill as much time as possible before he could go home and not have to be at the club. Like, it's like this, okay? Let's say club activities end at 7 p.m., okay? And Hachiman was looking at the clock, and he realizes that the earliest he could possibly be is like 4 p.m., okay? And he wastes and kills time until around maybe 6 p.m. or maybe 5:30 p.m. That's what Hachiman was trying to do in this episode. He was killing time to where he didn't have to be in the presence of Yukino and Yui for a long period of time. And I really like the way the studio that's currently animating this is tackling the body move. It's like, it was apparent in Season 1, but it wasn't as apparent in how this episode took it. Like, when I was watching Season 1, I think I noticed a couple of things, especially similar to what is going on in this episode, but when it came to this Season 2, I noticed that whoever is animating this is tackling body movements a lot better than the previous season, especially when it comes to displaying the characters and the different ways they're thinking. Like, you don't have to really know what they're saying in their mind, like an inner monologue, to understand by the way they carry themselves in the episodes that what they're really thinking, and that's what you can pull from this episode. So yeah, the main thing going on here, getting into simpler terms of this episode, a lot of conflict, a lot of drama, and Hachiman, if he doesn't change soon, he's going to end up hurting the people closest to him, and he's eventually going to hurt himself one day or another. One day, it's going to come a time to when he does hurt himself, because he will be in a situation to where he'll realize he fucked up. But that's the way it's going, the way with the foreshadowing is done in this episode, along with the introduction of the middle school person that Hachiman knew when he was in middle school that he confessed to. A lot of foreshadowing and a lot of setup for events to come, and I am looking forward to seeing how this is going to progress later on, especially with how this middle school friend was introduced and what the teacher said to Hachiman, like how when someone needs him most, or when, you know, he needs someone most, that someone's going to be in trouble, and, you know, he's not going to be able to help him if he continues down this path. That's kind of what I pulled out of that segment at the end of this episode. So yeah, tell me your thoughts. I mean, how do you feel about this episode of Snafu Season 2? It was a very interesting episode. Like, I'm going to have to start really paying attention even more to this series, because I highly underestimated how I should look at this series. Like, I didn't think I would have to look this deep at a rom-com. Like, it depends on the type of series if I look at it deep enough, and I need to give Snafu some more respect. I clearly do, after looking at some of these themes in this episode. So, for now on, I'm going to have to really pay attention, like I do with some really good series, like, you know, how I do with Taizai, Fate, and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe this is just my rambling since I'm fucking tired. I've been up all night, so maybe I'm just fucking tired and I'm loopy and I'm like, wee! You know, maybe it's because of that. I don't know. Just, hopefully, it's not just that. Hopefully I did notice these themes and it's not just me. Anyways, you all have a wonderful day or not, wherever you live. I want to end this review here. I want to go edit it, and I'm heading to bed. So yeah, you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you when JoJo comes out. Chibi out.